Chunk parsing in NLP, in natural language processing, is a process to take small pieces of information and group them, chunk them into large units. The primary use of chunking is making groups of noun phrases. It's used to add structure to the sentence by following POC tagging or part of speech tagging, combined with regular expressions. The resulted group of words are called chunks. There is not an exact rule of chunking. Just chunking uses a special regex or regular expression syntax for rules that delimit the chunks. These rules must be converted to regular expressions before a sentence can be chunked. It is high time for FaceTime. Till here, we did a lot of steps. We got rid of, we cleaned our text somehow. We got rid of stop words, and we extracted the stems and the lemma of the words, the root of the words, as using stemming and lemmatization. And then we tokenized it. Yeah, we cleaned. Congratulations. But you know what? It's not enough yet. For example, when we tokenize, let's take one example. I am from Central Asia. Let's tokenize this. So while if we apply tokenization function to this sentence, it tokenizes Central Asia, Asia Central. It doesn't care about Central Asia, but it tokenizes separately. Central word is separate and Asia word is separate. But I'm not from Asia. I'm not from Central. I'm from Central Asia. It must be this part, the Central Asia, give us the whole context meaning. So we should, there must be some parsing or chunking method. Yes, it is chunking methods of Nltk. So as I talked in animation part, as I showed, it takes a group of it takes group of words, important words. It takes, and actually it takes necessary important words and chunks, group them together. Why important words? Let's say not important words, but their meanings, if their meanings are related to each other, it chunks together. For example, chunking, and Nltk provides us with verb, noun. When we chunk, for example, let's say I live in Central Asia. I is pronoun, live is verb. We saw this in animation part. And Central Asia. Central Asia is place. And if we know how to chunk, how to deal with the patterns of the data, so then we can chunk. Actually, it's not easy if we do not know regular expressions. I highly recommend to learn about regular expressions, and I'm planning to make video for regular expressions, devoted to regular expressions, and it's very important. Regular expression is important in any field of programming, not just data science, but it's like an oxygen in data science. Why? Because when we are supposed to find patterns of data, so we cannot find patterns of data without regular expressions. We really need it, and it's very it takes a lot of time to explain regular expressions. So in general, we can chunk or group the patterns of the data. So for example, here's Central Asia. So how we chunk them together. We saw them in the coding part. So let's skip some of these parts. We have already seen how to write contents, or how to write the topic of the class, and we have seen importing packages. So we need Pong sentence tokenizer, and we have seen how to create our text data. It's very simple. So I have already written them in order not to spend time in this video tutoring. So let's we need now Pong sentence tokenizer, and as usual we assign it into one variable. So we are going to tokenize example 2. Tokenizer train it. So this is tokenizes and trainers. So it's tokenizer train it. Example 2. Let's again tokenize, and we tokenize what? Example 1. Let's assign it to one variable. In this time, in this tutoring class, it's better to create a function directly, because we learned how to create function. We need 2 arguments here, text1, text2. Let's change the name of this. It's actually parsing. Parsing. What parsing? Regex parsing. It's all about parsing the patterns. Chunking the patterns, you know? Chunking patterns of the data. And we must use, it's better to use try and except method in order to avoid error. Let's create for loop, lex unit n, tokenize it, Nltk, board, tokenize. What do we tokenize? This tokenize it. The ready-made tokenize, train it, tokenize it. So it's lex unit. So Nltk post tag. Sorry for the noise, my neighbors are so noisy. For this, let's name it tag it, because we are going to tag the tokenized words. So chunk pattern. So we are going to it's regex parsing. So we should create a regular expression pattern. Chunk adverb in it, and we need, let's see, verb. Let's chunk verbs. You may wonder, there is dots, question mark, and etc. But it's what regex is. I will try to create some other specific video for regular expressionists. Please look forward to this. It's very interesting, you know. In order to be master in chunking patterns, of the data, we really need experience in regex. So Nltk regex parser. It's ready-made method of Nltk. What do we regex parse? This pattern. It's our customizable pattern. Adverb, verb, noun. So we name it parsed pattern. Parse pattern, parse. What do we parse? This targets. Let's name this chunket. So it's chunket. It's our chunk now. Chunk draw. But this, to use this draw, we need a matplotlib library. I will do a separate video for this matplotlib library to display the parse regular expression matplotlib library is needed, but you have to install a matplotlib library in order to use this method. For net unit in chunked subtrees lambda t label. So label will be chunk. We print what? Net unit. It's just for matplotlib code. When we learn about matplotlib, we see what's going on here. It takes a lot of time to explain this now. There is a tree. It displays tree. So as using for loop exception as skip print skip. So now we need two arguments. So what are these two arguments? This example 1, example 2. Let's print out. Name Nltk is not defined. There is an error. Where's here it is. Nltk. Let's print this. Here we go. So regular in this sentence it's adjective, expressionist nouns, are verbs. It is in the sentence helpful adjective. So now it is showing us the part of speech or chunks that we asked. What we asked? We asked verb, adverb, and noun phrase. So according to our pattern, it's showing us the patterns exist in our text data. Removing verbs, prepositions, determiners is the difficulty we come across while we are chunk parsing. In order to get rid of them, we may use a method so-called chinking. Let's have very short FaceTime to talk about chinking. Chinking and chunking they do not differ from each other. Actually, the process of chinking and chunking is related to each other. Chunking is grouping words, right? Grouping words together, chunking, parsing. So we have now chunked, parsed group of words. And we do not, maybe there are patterns. We do not want them. So we want to get rid of them. We want to remove these patterns. So the process of removing these patterns out of this chunk, out of this group, or out of this parsed chunk is called chinking. So chinking is about removing the patterns. So let's see how chinking works as coding. Here we are writing content and importing packages. What kind of packages we need? We need Panda, NumPy, Matplotlib, and we need regular expressions. And we may need warnings, and it's better to write Matplotlib inline. Sometimes it gives error if you don't write it like this. And we have data, example text data. Let's write refine all. Refine all what? Let's create function def remove pattern, because we are going to remove pattern. Chinking is all about removing pattern, so we need to argument input text and input pattern. Yes. And let's take your indentation. Input text, what input input pattern, let's first, and then put text, and let's name this all patterns. Okay, and let's create for loop for lex units in all patterns. Input text. Let's input text regular expression sub lex unit. So the all pattern is lex unit. So here it receives pattern, input pattern it receives. Then input text. Okay. Please go and see for loop and other text, other videos, sorry, in order to understand what's happening here. And today we are seeing chinking. Input text. So it returns input text. Let's try this. Remove pattern function. Let's call the function, and we need two arguments. So we need input data, input text data. It's this one, input text, and the next one is pattern. As you see above, there is unnecessary patterns in the text. So from 0 till 3, let's write. So it means from 1 till 4 in our Python. Please go to the previous class. We are going to remove this pattern from text. Here we have to input a pattern. It's this one, and we're going to remove this pattern from this text. And let's and p vectorize. We have to vectorize it. When we learn NumPy library, we can learn about vectorize. There are a lot of things to talk about vectorize. It's different topic which takes a lot of time. So clean text. We have clean text, and let's print this clean text. Let's then comment it out. We don't need it. Again, error. What's the problem? Let's see. The problem I guess we used to remove patterns in one way. Yes, yes, yes. Unhashable type. I guess we used remove patterns in a wrong way. It's not hashable now. So then must be in brackets, and yeah, I guess so. I guess everything is right now. Here we go. So now, as we see, there is not the pattern we didn't want. Um, this pattern is removed. See, it's removed, and we can, for example, customize it. Let's say, for example, we don't need this pattern, okay? And as you see, there is not, there is this pattern, but there is not the pattern we didn't want. Here we go. It's all about chunking. So we can customize, we can chunk the patterns, and we can even remove the patterns as much as we want. So it's called chunking.